If you are new to ROS2 and you have been trying to learn the programming and you have been trying to learn nodes, topics, subscribers, and publisher, but you are still confused about that, and you want to do programming in ROS2 and you want to make your own subscriber and publisher for your own package instead of using default packages in ROS2. So if the answer to all of these questions is yes, then you are in the right place. In this video, I will tell you how to make your own subscriber and publisher from your own package, which you will be creating. So the example that we will use for making the package is that we will be creating a football score, and scores will increment with time. It will be automated, not manually. So we will do that later on. To begin with, firstly, we will be incrementing the goals with time automatically. What we will do is that we will be creating a subscriber, and as well we will create a publisher. Instead of using the commands which I did in the previous video of creating subscriber and publisher, in this video I will tell you how to do the programming. It is actually very easy, and we cannot always copy paste the commands. We need to do some programming by ourselves as well when we will be doing robotics related projects. So let's go and do this creation of subscriber and publisher with proper programming instead of copy pasting the code from some sources on internet or other sources. So let's go and start with this. The first step is to find out which packages do we have installed in our ROS2. So in order to see that, let's find out if I have installed any packages in ROS2. So the command is very easy: ROS2 list grep basic. So what this does is that it will list all the packages that are installed in ROS2 with the keyword basic. Okay, so you will see it has shown me that I have installed 3 packages already in the ROS2. One of them is basic football, another is basic ROS, another is quad rotor basics. I have been using ROS2 for a while now, and I have been installing different packages. In fact, the basic football package, which you see right at the top, I created this manually. So this is not a built-in package of ROS2. So if you have followed my channel, you will see that I have already taught you how to create your own package or how to create your own workspace. So we have already done that. You can scroll back in this playlist or course and find that video. I taught that in more detail, but here in this video, I will tell you briefly how do we create the package, because that is the first step before we create a subscriber and publisher. Since it is already created, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to delete this package firstly and then create it once again. In order to delete the package, the command we have is that rm-rf basic football. So I made a mistake. This should be double dash. So I made a mistake because the first step is that we need to go to that folder. If I want to delete a package, I have to access that package firstly, right? So in order to go to that folder, what we need to do is that we are going to write this command cd ROS2 workspace. You already know that how do we create this workspace. You can see that in the previous video, and the packages are in this folder. So in order to see the packages or content in this folder, we will write ls, and it will show me that I have basic football, basic ROS, and these other files in this folder. So how do I delete this basic football packages? That simply I have to write rm -rf, right? Basic football, and it will delete it. Now if I write ls, it will show me that it has been deleted. But whenever we add or we delete any package, what we need to do is that we have to run few commands to refresh the ROS2 installation. So we will go back to the main folder. After that, what we need to do is that we need to write this build. We have to build the install log again. Now, this command, if you look closely, this is rm dot, rm not dot, actually it is a dash, rm space dash rf. This will also delete the other files in the same folder of src. So these files are build install log. We can actually delete whatever we write after these two words, which is rm space dash rf. It will delete everything that we write after that. So if you look here, we had this file build install log. So we also want to delete that. I'm not going to delete this basic ROS and quadrotor basic packages. So I just want to delete these files. So you will see now src folder has nothing in that. So what we need to do is that after that we need to build this command. It will build all the packages. So we have only two packages except basic football, which are basic ROS and quadrotor basics. So that's why it is showing me two packages finished. If you have no package over here, so it will show you 0 packages. Now what we need to do is that we need to install setup again. So it has installed the setup again, and now let's see package list. I want to confirm if the packages are deleted. So you can see now it is showing me only basic ROS and quadrotor basics. So the first step before creating a subscriber and publisher is that we want to create the package. Since I already had it, so I just cleaned the environment and the folder and deleted that package. So let's go to the next step. Now, how do we create a package? This is actually really easy. What we need to do is that we need to go to the src folder. So if you look here, we are in this folder ROS2, home, then this computer name, and then ROS2. So I want to go to the src folder because this is the folder which we will be using for installing all our packages. So it's really easy, ROS2 workspace, and I want to go to this folder. So in order to confirm this, what I will do is I will write pwd, and it will show me that I'm in this folder. Now creating ROS packages is very easy. A detailed video is already uploaded on my channel. You can find that, but I will just simply write that command here and show you how to create a package. So ROS2 package, right? Then create. We want to know the build type. Could be Python, right? And package name. After that, we have to write a package name. So we want to create a basic football package. You can name it anything. You can name it as football scorer or score counter. Okay, let's do that as well. So it will create a package over here. So you can see basic football. Then after that, what we need to do is that we need to go to the main folder, cd workspace. I told you, whenever we delete or install a package, what we need to do is that we need to build this kun again, and it will build all the packages once again. And then we have to install this source install setup. So now, in order to confirm the packages we have, what we need to do is that ROS2 package list basic. I will write only basic, okay? just to show you. You see, now basic football package is added over here. I told you that you can name it anything you want. So let's name it something else as well and see what happens to the package. So I will simply go back to this command over here. We named it as basic football. So let's name it as a football score. So this is another package we will be creating. So it has created another package, football scorer. After that, once again, since we have installed a new package, so we need to go to this main folder, right? In the main folder, what we need to do is that we need to write this colcon build. Right. I have already explained this colcon in one of the videos, so you can also see that what does this mean. Now, the key point here is you can see here that now we have 4 packages. The reason is previously I had basic ROS and quadrotor basics. Okay, after that I installed basic football and I also installed football scorer, right? So that's why it is showing me 4 packages. This number might be different when you will be programming your own package. After this, I need to install the setup. So source install setup.bash. Now I want to see the packages. If I write only ROS2 package list, it will show me a lot of packages. So I just want to grab the packages that I installed or I want to see. So what we can do is that we can write basic. Now if I write basic, it will show me only those packages which has this key term basic. Okay, and you saw that in the 4th package we created football scorer, so it will not show me that one. You can see over here it is showing me only 3 packages. So I want to see if my football scorer is created, so I can take that keyword football from that. And now it is showing me 2 packages because football word appears in 2 packages. One of them is basic football and another one is football scorer. So this was about how to create a package in the ROS2. Now next step will be to create publisher and subscriber. In order to create the publisher, what we need to do is that we need to follow some commands, and that commands are actually very easy. We have to access the folders for that. So first of all, how do we access any folder? We write cd and then this command ROS2 workspace and src. If we want to work with the package basic football, then I will open that package over here. If you want to work with football scorer package, you can open that folder over here. So let's go with basic football. Okay, this is the package, and then this basic football, again, this is the Python module. Okay, so don't get confused with this. We write basic football twice. First one is the package which we created, and the second one is the Python module. So when I press enter over here, so let's see what do we have in this folder. So you will see we have only initialized and with this py extension, which is for Python. So we want to create our own publisher. So to create our own publisher or any Python file in ROS2, the command is nano. That's it. After that, you have to name the file and write its extension. So if you want to create a publisher, and that is for score increments like first goal, second goal, or third goal. So let's name it as football score publisher .py. Okay, .py represents that this is a Python file, and the before dot, it's the name of that file. So now as soon as I enter this command, it will open a new file, and that will be football score publisher in Python. So you will see that now. So you can see we have this football score publisher Python file, and we have created our own publisher. But in this publisher file, we have to actually write a code, right? That is the important part of this video. How do we do the programming? Previously, I told you that we can simply copy paste the commands from here and there. In fact, I already gave you the commands in the description of each video. But the important point for learning ROS2 is that to know how do we do the programming. Okay, so this is now a very important part of this video. So if you have arrived over here, it means you are keen to learn the programming and how do we do the programming in Python. So first step, actually, even before going to first step, I will tell you actually there are just 4 major parts of the code. So you will see that when we do this programming, but I will tell you that first part is to import the libraries. Second one is to define the class. And after that, we do initialization. And then we have this main part of the code. So let's go and write this code. So the first part is to import the libraries. So let's import RCLPY. Okay, so this is the first command. We want to import this RCLPY, which links Python with ROS2. And from this library, from RCLPY.node, we want to import node, right? Node and topic. So we need these two from the libraries. So from rclpy.node, we are importing node. One key point which you must remember is that you should use capital N over here. Okay, when I was learning how to do programming in this section, I was making this mistake, but I'm giving you a head start that be sure to use capital N over here. Now, the next part is that we need, like, what is the information sent to the topic or publisher, you can say. So the information which we are sending is actually a number, right? Goal scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, so we have to also import the type of the data we want to send. So sometimes we have float 32, float 64, string, and many other types. If you are into programming, you may know these, that there are different types of data which we can define. For this case, we will be using a string. So for that, the command is std messages.message. Okay, the message we want to send, and it should be string. Once again, be careful about this capital S. This is the first part. Okay, so you have learned this. First of all, you have to import the libraries, define the data format, and all that stuff. Now, the next step is to define class. Let's break down this into different parts so we can easily learn it. So the next part is to define class. So it's very easy. You need to write class, right? Football score publisher. Okay, and this is a node. Once again, be careful about this capital N. Now I named this as football score publisher. You can name it anything you want, but remember that, okay? Because we will be using these words in our code. So I named it as football score publisher. Later on, when I will be creating a subscriber, I will name it as football score subscriber. So this is the class. Now, the next part, you saw that we have done almost 50% of the programming. Actually, this is not 50% of the programming. This is actually 2 parts of the 4 parts of the whole code. So if we divide our code into 4 parts, so 2 parts are already done, and they are very simple. First of all, import libraries. Second one, define class. Now, in the next step, what we need to do is that we need to initialize our code, right? Code, program, you name it, whatever you like. And also define a timer. We need a timer for the code as well, right? Football match is played in 90. There is a total of 90 minutes. So we need to define our timer as well. So once again, this is very easy. How do we do that? We simply need this command, define init, then self. Okay, that's it. And what's the second part? Define timer callback self. That's it. Okay. Now this is the second part. This is the third part of the code. So what is the last part of the code? That is the main code actually, where we will be doing a lot of stuff. Define. Let's go to the new line. Define main code or write main code, whatever makes you grab the concept, you can use that. So define or write the main code, that is define main. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake. Define main args is equal to none. That's it. We have completed our code. At the end, we use only one command to close our code. That is if name is equal to main, then go to main. That's it. We have completed the code for creating a publisher. But now this looks very simple. First of all, what we did is that we imported all the libraries. After that, in the second step, what we did is that we created the class of the publisher, right? Then we initialized, okay, created a definition for initialization, timer callback. And after that, the last one was to define a main part with arguments equal to none. Now we will be adding some stuff in this code, and that is actually very easy. You will see that. First of all, what we need to do is that we need to go back to this initialization part. So I will break down this further into a few more steps. What we need here is that first of all, we need to super initialize this. So this is kind of used in all Python commands, okay? And what we need to initialize over here is that football score publisher. Now this is different from the one we wrote in the command, okay? This is the name of this publisher, okay? So we need to super initialize this. After that, it's very easy. What we need to initialize, we are creating a publisher. So what we need is that to write a self publisher command equal to self, you see it's self, and create a publisher. So create a publisher. Now in publisher, we need to define what we want to add in this, its data. So that's actually very easy. So the first is point is to add string. We call this in the libraries, right? Next is to name it. So let's call this as football score or whatever you like, you can name it. And then we write 10 over here. So this 10 actually represents the data stored in the publisher. So it can wait for us. For example, there is one goal scored, then second, third, fourth, and so on. But subscriber at that time is not looking at the publisher. So it will store the data up to 10 goals. Okay. So for this after super initialization, we have finished the code for initialization. Sorry. Now next step is to write this self.score equal to 0. We want to define that the score starts from 0, right? There is no match of football in the world that starts from 1 or even negative goals, right? It always starts from 0. So we also have to initialize the score from the value equal to 0. Okay. After that, the next step is timer. Self.timer is equal to self. If you note one key concept over here, when we were writing self.publisher, So after that, it was equal to self.createPublisher. Now I have written self.timer. So after that, it will be self.createTimer. So remembering these commands is actually very easy, right? Now in the timer, I have to add its data as well. And here in this code, I'm assuming that the time is incremented by 1. So you can say by 1 minute or 1 second. Okay, but it is incremented by 1. So I need to write that over here, 1.0. Okay, and then the next command will be self dot timer callback. That will be coded later on. So self dot timer callback. So we will be doing its programming in the next definition. So let's go to timer callback. First step, once again, message would be equal to string. That is the type of message, right? If you go back to the third line, you can see over here, its format is string. So message is actually string. And what's the data of message? Message.data. This is actually f score dot self dot score. Okay, so now this means that message is string, and the data in that string is actually written in this way: score score double dot score self dot score. So when we print this data using echo command or using subscriber, we will see it will be written score double dot and then the score. Okay, so initially it will be 0, then it will be incremented to 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So here you can write anything you want. If you look closely, we have this green color text. So these are actually visible to us. So you can use whatever name you want to write over here. Okay. So instead of score, I can write current score, whatever I feel best. Okay. So let's write score dot, and then in this brackets, self dot score, this will be actually representing this one. So initially it will be 0, and then it will be incremented by 1. After that, actually, it's really easy. If you understood the previous code, self dot publisher. Okay, so this will actually publish message. We already defined the message in these two commands, right? So this will publish the message. And after that, the next command will be self dot get logger dot info of message data. Okay, and then we need to increment the score also, right? It will, if we don't write this command self dot score plus equal to 1, if we don't write this command, the score will always be 0. So if you want to increment it, we can write 1 over here. If you want to increment it by 2, you can write 2 here. So this part is done. Now actually 90% of the code is already done. What we need to do is next is that write this main code. Actually that is very simple. Why is it simple? You will see it now. So what we imported this library, right? RCLPY. So first is initialize. So args is equal to args. This tells ROS2 that wake up. We are running a code. So begin some work over here. Okay, this is the first command. After that, node equal to, now this should be same name as the class. Okay, if I have made any mistake, we will find out that when we run this publisher. So but this name should be same as this command over here that we defined in class. If you name it something else, for example football scorer or goals scored, so you have to use that name over here. Okay, otherwise it will give you an error. After that, the next command is that we want our simulations or programming to keep running. So it is actually very easy. RCLPY dot spin. So you can already know from this word spin that it will be working like a loop. It is not a loop, but it will work like a loop, and the programming will keep running. If we want to stop the programming or the code or the publisher from sending the data, so we also need to add this command as well, node destroy score node. Okay, so when we will be pressing Control C, you will see our code will stop, and that will happen due to this destroy node command. Okay, and it's obvious from destroy underscore node command that we want to stop our code, and this command is also important to stop and shut down the code. Okay, so this was the code of football score publisher. Okay, subscriber is much more easy because in that one we will not be incrementing the score like this one, because in subscriber it will only be reading the data. But the main concept is that the structure of the code will actually be same like this. First of all, what we need is that we need to import libraries, then define a class, and after that we have to initialize and create a timer callback. Sorry, we have to create this and then define our main code. Main code is actually very simple. The major part is over here. How do we initialize our setup? So in main code, we have to tell ROS2 that start working, and for that the command is rclpy.init args is equal to args. Then we have to tell it that the node is football score publisher, right? And then for simulation to keep working, how to stop it and shut down. So this is the main code. Once you finish this code, what we need to do is that you need to press Control O. After that, you need to press enter, and then Control X will close this. So we will be back to our main window. Now we have created this publisher, right? So assume you are doing a simulation in MATLAB and you create a function over there. But function itself does not work directly. You have to call it from your other part of the code or the main code. So what we need to do is that we need to write a code for that. If you remember, in the beginning of the video, we were installing that setup. So we have to tell setup that we have this football score publisher. You have to run that as well. So let's go to that file of setup. So let's see what do we have in this folder firstly. So you can see we have now this initialized Python, and we have another file with football score publisher. Now we'll go back to this folder, ROS2 workspace src, and you can see here we have these packages and build install log, and I want to go to this package folder, which was basic football. So what do we have inside this folder? We will write lf, and we can see we have this setup.python file right over here. So I want to modify this file for the publisher. Okay, so in order to open this or create, if this file did not exist, I will simply write nano and write its name, and it will be created. But if it exists, I can still use nano and it will open that file for me. So nano setup.py. You can see it is already coded for us. So we actually do not need to do a lot of stuff in this setup package. What we will be doing is that we have to add our publisher in this console scripts. So how do we do that? It is actually very easy. I simply have to call the publisher file that I created just now. So it's very easy, and let's go to this line of console scripts. What you need to do is that the publisher file that we created, football score publisher, right, equal to basic football, that was the name of the package, and then football score publisher main. Okay, so this is the command we need to add over here. Once again, once you are done with this command, we will write Control O, then press enter and then Control X. So it will close that. So now we have created a publisher. We have already changed this some command in the setup. So we need to build this once again. So we will go to the main folder, right? We will do colcon build. So this will build all the packages. There is also another command in which we can directly target our command, or you can see sorry, not command actually, in that we can directly target our package. So that is packages, right? Basic football. Let's see if I wrote this correctly and we will see. So the main idea is that it will select this package basic football and only do the processing for that. So you can see here it is only changing the setup for that. After that, next step, we need to source install setup.bash. Remember, we also changed this setup.py file as well. So we also need to do this as well. Now the next step is actually very important. We want to see that what do we have executables in this ROS2 package. Even if you don't want to use it, it's okay. But I would recommend that to see if we are successful. So you can see we have basic football, that is the Python module, and we have football score publisher. Now in order to run this publisher, we will write ROS2 run, then we call the package that was basic football, and then the publisher that we created. So if everything we did correctly, we will see that this will run and we will see the score incremented by 1. So let's see if there is a mistake, then I will do the debugging for that. So let me press the enter, and we have made one mistake over here. So let me find out about that and I will explain it to you. So in order to do the debugging, let's open the code that we wrote for the publisher and see if I made any typing mistake or if I did any mistake with the spelling. So let's go to its folder firstly, cd ROS2 workspace src, and then basic football, that is the package, basic football, that is the Python module. So we are in that folder. Now let's open. We can open it using nano command, or if I want to see it in this window, I can write cat football for publisher.py. Okay, so it will show me the code that we wrote in that file. So first one was import files from rclpy.node, import node, okay, string, that is also fine, class football score publisher. So this is actually the important thing that I want to verify if I wrote it exactly this way. F is capital, S is capital, and P is capital. So we will go back to the go down to the main part. Football score publisher, F is capital, S is capital, and P is capital. Actually, what I want to tell you is that I'm just verifying this name. You can write it in small letters as well. You can write all of them in capital letters. But for my own convenience to distinguish between these three words, what I did is that I wrote football with capital F, then score with S, and publisher with P. By the way, I found out the mistake just now. This self/score plus is equal to 1 is a mistake. This should be self dot. So what I will do is that I will open this file. So instead of cat, I will write nano to open it, and I will directly go there to change this. So this was a mistake. If you caught this mistake earlier, then very good. So I've changed this. Control O, enter, and Control X. Okay. Now I will go back to the main folder ROS2 workspace. I can do build for all the packages, or if I want to do this for only this basic package. So packages, select basic football. So it will target that and refresh everything. After that, source install setup.bash. Okay, it's done. So I want to verify the executables which we did earlier. Okay, ROS2 package executables basic football. So yes, it shows me that file. Now I will run this this publisher ROS2 run basic football. Okay, and then the name of the so congratulations, we have created our own publisher. We can see this, it's running. I just want to give you a very good concept that is also important for ROS2 programming. We will open a new window. Okay, ROS2 node list. So you can see we have football score publisher at this time. We have not created our subscriber. And ROS2 topic list. So you can see we have football score. If you remember, there was this green text and we wrote football score there. You can write your own name there, no problem. Okay, whatever you feel convenient for yourself, you can write that. So we can see we have this football score over here. So let's write this ROS2 topic info. Give me information of football score. So you can see we have one publisher and subscription is 0 because we have not created our subscriber. Why publisher is 1? Because in this window, publisher is operating. You can see goals are incremented by 1. Okay, so there are two ways to read that information in real time. One is to create subscriber, that we will do now. Another way is to use echo command. So we have this echo command. Anything we write after that is shown as it is or read as it is in this window in real time. So if I write Real Madrid, you can see it is showing me Real Madrid. This is more like that hello world command. So let's use this echo command, topic echo, and this will, let's see if I'm making a mistake or doing it correctly. So you can see it is showing me the score, but showing me the score in real time. So in real time, it was 112 when I pressed enter. So you can see it was right over here. Okay. So this is about echo. If we go to the third window, you will see that now ROS2 topic list. What I want to show you is that we will have subscription count equal to 0 or 1. Answer me, 0 or 1. Okay, the answer is 1. So you can see publisher count is 1 because of this publisher that we created. Subscription count is 1 because we use this echo command to read the information in real time. Now the next part is how do we program subscriber for reading this information. So let's do that. I will stop these momentarily using Control C. If you remember, we added these commands for stopping the simulations or programming. Okay, so next step is to create a subscriber. It's the same process. We will be going to the folder, write nano, and then create our own text file in Python, and then write the programming. The basic structure will stay the same. You will see it just now. So let's go. So creating the subscriber will actually be more like a practice of creating publisher, just with few modifications, because publisher requires this increment in data of +1 for score, but subscriber will only be reading that data, so we will not be adding that kind of commands over here. You will see that. So let's clear this window and go to the same folder where we created cd ROS2 over space src, and then we had this package basic football. Okay, I just want to show you what we have in this folder. So you can see we have setup and all other stuff in this folder, and then we can go to the Python module, and let's see what do we have over here. So we have entered this folder and we have a publisher over here. Now I want to create a subscriber over here, right? So the command is very easy: nano score, not publisher. Now I want subscriber. Okay, .py. So it will create a new file because this does not exist. If you remember previously when I wrote nano setup, it already existed and had some commands, so it showed me that. But now this will create and open this score underscore subscriber. So when I press enter, it will show me this file. Now the structure is same as the previous one. Okay, first step is to import rclpy. Okay, and then from this rclpy we import node. You can see this is same as previous one, and then we have to import this std messages dot message import string, right? This is same code as the previous one. Next step is to define the class. Okay, so class, previously we wrote football score publisher. Now what we want is that we need a subscriber, so let's name it score subscriber. Okay, you can name it anything, I told you, and be careful about this node. This n in node, this should be capital, and add double dot. These are the common mistakes that I have been making, so I'm just telling you again and again about this. Next step, remember, what do we define? Initialization. So define init and then self, right? Now, previously we had timer callback, right? Here we will need a listener, okay? Because what does subscriber do? It listens, it reads the information that is sent from the publisher. So we need to define listener callback, and it should be self, and also it should read the message, right? After that, the main part of the code, that is define main args is equal to none, and then we have to write some coding over here, and at the end we write this name equal to main double dot, and then it should run in this loop. Okay, so these are the actually main parts of the code, and this is the structure of most of the Python codes that we write in ROS2. Okay, so if you understand this, or if you can memorize this, everything becomes really easy for you. Now we will go back and write the parts that we have to fill here in initialization and listener callback. So it is actually very easy because we already did this in the publisher. So sorry, I made a mistake. This should be init. Okay, this is very easy. What was the first step? First step was super initialization. So super dot init, and now previously we wrote football score over here, or publisher something. Now we will write this as score subscriber because we are creating a subscriber. That's it. Next, previously we wrote self.publisher. Since we are working with subscriber now, so this will be self.subscriber. I hope that I did not make any mistake. And then after that, self again, but create subscriber or subscription. Okay, subscription is the command that is used in here, and then we have to fill this, right? So what do we have to write over here? This should be string We already know this. After that, the name of this. So let's name it football goal score. Okay, let's name it this. And that comma. After that, what we have to write is that 10. We wrote 10 previously because we wanted to store 10 goals scored, right? So we can write 10 over here, but before that, let's write self dot listener underscore callback. We will be calling back this command instead of using the timer because we don't care about timer. Subscriber will only be reading the information. It doesn't care about the time. If it is sent after 1 minute or 1 day, it will only be reading the information and store about 10 goals. You can write 100, whatever you feel best. Okay, so initialization is done. Next is listener callback. Actually, this is very easy. Unlike the timer, we only need one command over here, is that self, okay, get logger, and give us the information of message data. Okay, so that's it. This is about the listener callback. I told you this is much more easy than publisher because in publisher we had to define the goals scored, increment them, timer we had to define by, and then we have to tell it that the timer should be incremented by 1.0. Okay, but this is much more simple than that. Now we come to the main part of the code. So it is actually, I think, same as the previous one. Initialize, okay, args is equal to args. This command means that ROS, it is telling ROS to wake up and do something for this code. Okay, and then we have to define this node. Now we are working with the class of this, right? This should be correct or same as this class. So score subscriber. I'm trying not to make any mistakes this time. Next is that this should keep working until we stop it. So we write this rclpy.spin, or if we want to stop it using Control C, so destroy node and shut down the emulations or programming. Okay, and that's it. And we have already written this over here. So I hope there is no mistake this time. So what we need to do is that after this completion of the code, we will be pressing Control and plus O. After that, we will press Enter and then Control X. Okay. So just to read this code once again, we can write score subscriber.py. So it will show me the code over here. Now we have added a subscriber. So now we need to change this command in the setup also, right? So what we need to do is that we need to go to this file of setup is src. If you note one thing, mostly in these commands or codes, we move from one folder to another folder, mostly in these commands. In Windows, it is much more easy. We use mouse and click here and there. But in ROS2 or Ubuntu, you have to use these commands. So that is actually more time consuming, but it is easy. It's not difficult. You just write this command cd and you can open any folder you want. You can check it using pwd. So we are in this folder. If you want to check the files here, so you can see we have these files. So we can see we have this setup.py file. So let's open this, and similar to the previous step, we added this football score publisher, right? So now what we need to do is that we need to add a subscriber over here. So this is actually very easy. What we need to do is that score subscriber, that was the name we used, right? Basic underscore football. This is the package, and score subscriber main. Okay, it's comma. So I hope there is no mistake. Score subscriber basic underscore football.score subscriber.main. Okay, so Control O and then Enter and then Control X. Okay, you can see the name over here, score subscriber. So now we need to build this similar to moving here and there in the folder. Whenever we add packages or do some changes in the Python files, what we need to do is that we need to build these files again. So either I can use this Qualcomm build and it will build all the packages, and it might take more time. Right now we have 4 packages, but if we have a lot of packages, it will take a lot of time. So instead of that, we can directly target a package. It can be done more quickly. So you can see it is updating that. Then source install, because we also changed setup file by adding subscriber to it, and it will do this. So ROS2, and now wait, I want to use the executable command over here. So why do we need the executable command? Is that I want to see what do I have in the publisher and what do I have in the subscriber. So for that, it's very easy. ROS2 package. Okay, I want to see executables. Executables. I hope the spelling is correct for this package. So it will show me that I have a football score publisher and I also have score subscriber over here. Okay, so now let's run this command again. So let's go back to the first window. Here I want to run ROS2 run basic football and publisher. Okay, I want to run this. You can see it is incrementing the goals by 1. Here I used echo command, so let's skip that for now, and let's run ROS2 run basic football and score subscriber. I hope everything is okay. If everything is okay, it will read the goals scored in real time. Okay, so it will not start from 0. It will actually read the score goal after I press enter. Okay, so if everything is okay, it will run. Let's see. So once again, we have made some mistake in the score subscriber file. So let's see what we did, and we will open that file. It's really easy to open that file. src basic football, and then again basic football. Okay, and I will open this file directly because I already know the mistake is there. Score subscriber.py. So this is the code we wrote for subscriber. We imported libraries, we defined the class, and then we initialized it self, and then we defined listener callback, main code, and then we concluded the code. So the mistake is obvious. We can see over here, we have not added double dot over here. So let's add that. So there are 2 lessons for us. Even if we make a mistake of dot or double dots, backslash, we will get an error. So we have to be inch perfect with the coding. So we got this lesson as well, that we must add these double dot whenever we define something. So you can see define, initialize, double dot, then here as well, after the main command as well, and also class. Okay, so this double dot was the error. Now let's do this control O, enter, control X. Now once again, we have to go back to ROS2 workspace. Okay, and then we have to write this Qualcomm build command because we changed the Python file, right? So it will update that. We can go back to this source installation again for the setup. So it has the setup again. Now let's see the executable files. So we have these executable files, and now let's run this subscriber. If you noticed, this is already running. Okay, the publisher is already running in the background. So ROS2 run basic football score subscriber. So there is an issue. The issue is that it is not reading the information. So let me debug that. In order to debug this, what I need to do is that I will stop all the coding, clear all the windows, and publisher is already running over here. But the thing is that after this was running, I changed some codes in Python files, and I also changed the setup code, I think. So let's stop this and run it again. Okay. So now we will see. I simply stopped all the simulations or programs, and I will run it again. ROS2 run basic football, and then we will run football for publisher. This was our publisher, right? So once again, so many mistakes. Basic football. So now it is working, right? I will open the second window. Okay, I don't want to touch this because this is echo, and there is an important lesson in this. I will tell you that after I successfully run the subscriber for. I hope the spellings are okay. And still we have this problem. So I need to see what exactly is happening. So let's stop this. Let's also stop this. Okay, I have figured out the mistake. It was quite a challenge. So I paused the video, and the mistake was actually a very silly mistake, and I will show it to you. Let's open this file, ROS2 workspace src, go to basic football package, and this folder for Python module. We have these files. We have football score publisher, and we have score subscriber. So I will tell you what actually was the mistake, and I have actually already fixed it, but you should know. Here I wrote football goal score previously, okay, in this command right over here, and it should be football score. And before that, I want to tell you the reason why it should be written as this, because let's open this subscriber, and let's also open the football score publisher. Sorry, I made a mistake again. So this what's the file? Football score publisher.py. Okay, football score publisher.py. So if you look here in this publisher file, we have football score over here, right? So it should be same as that in the subscriber football score. It should not be different. Okay, just be careful about that. It should be same names both in subscribers and publisher. If I summarize this mistake, then the mistake was that the publisher and subscriber, they were actually looking at different topic names. Okay, in publisher we had football score, not soccer, and the subscriber we had football score goal or something like that. Okay, football goal score actually. So subscriber was actually looking for or listening to football goal score, but publisher was actually sending football score. So they were not same. So that's why subscriber was unable to listen to it or unable to grab the information from it. So this was a very silly mistake. And now let's see if our code works. I hope it will work now. So let's run the code over here. Let me clear this window. ROS2 run basic football score publisher. So you can see it is publishing the information of goals score. Now we want to see this in subscriber. So ROS2 run basic football score subscriber, right? So you can see it is reading the information. Now there was another window which I actually closed it. So I want to show you this concept to you. So ROS2 node list. We have football score publisher and we have score subscribers. The files that we created by programming it ourselves. ROS2 topic list. So let's see what do we have over here. So we can see we have football score. So the name is same. You can see for both publisher and subscriber. So ROS2 topic info. Now you will see football score. So if you saw in the video, there was this one moment where we had subscription count equal to 0 and publisher count was equal to 1. Now what do you think we will have over here? 1 1 or 0 0? Okay, the answer is now we will have publisher equal to 1 and also subscriber equal to 1 because publisher is sending the information and subscriber is reading it. So let's see if it is 1 1. So you can see over here publisher count equal to 1, subscription count equal to 1. Previously we used echo command, so let's use that also. Topic, ROS2 topic and echo. Okay, football score. So this echo command actually also prints or reads the information. So you can see over here, this will read the real-time information sent by the publisher. So now we have actually two codes. One is echo and one is subscriber that is listening to the information. So if we go to another window, you will see that ROS2 topic list. It is same as before, but ROS2 topic info football score. Now, what do you think? We will have subscription count 1 or 2 or 0. Publisher is running, it is sending information. Subscriber is reading it. Echo is also reading it. So we have actually two readers if you grab the concept using this word. So we have actually more like two subscriber. Okay, one is our own subscriber, one is echo. So subscription count should be 2. Let's see if it is indeed 2. So you can see we have publisher count 1 that we created a code to send the scores. Okay, and then we have subscription count equal to 2. One of them is subscriber, the code we wrote, and another one is the echo command that is reading the information in real time. So we have subscription count equal to 2. So this is also a key concept in the ROS2 when we create our own publishers and subscribers. So in this video, actually, we learned how to create a package. We also did programming of how to write the code for publisher and subscriber. We also faced some issues, but we solved that. We learned how to do debugging, what mistakes we should not make. We should be careful about semicolons or colons. We should also be very careful about the names that we use. We should be very careful about everything in the code, and there should be no mistake. And we learned that the structure is actually same for both publisher and subscriber, and in most of the cases the structure in this Python code is mostly same. I'm not using the word in all the codes, maybe there will be difference, but in most of the Python codes that we use in ROS2 will have the same structure. First of all, you have to import it, then define class, then initialize, timer callback, and then main code, and then at the end we conclude our code. So this was everything about this video. How do we do programming of subscriber and publisher? I hope this helps you. And if you have any question, leave it in the comments. And if you have any suggestion for me, or if I make any mistake or I made any mistake, do let me know because I'm also a beginner and learning this ROS2. Thank you for watching this video and have a nice day.